Hey, good morning. I'm Patricia Murphy. It's Friday. This is Seattle Now. This week, drama in the state legislature as lawmakers discuss the proposed millionaire's tax. Some Mercer Island residents had to stop flushing their toilets for a day. And the McDonald's Golden Arches may be making their way to Capitol Hill. KUOW editor Phyllis Fletcher and local historian David Lewis are here to break down the week. But first, let's get you caught up. If you're planning a trip to Mount Rainier this summer, better get your game plan together. It's back to first come, first served. The National Park Service announced this week they won't be using timed reservations to get into the park. The reservation system was created 2 years ago to control the number of visitors and ease the impact on trails. Park Service officials say they're dedicated to responsibly managing congestion during peak periods by using, quote, proven traffic and parking management strategies. This could be a tip or a warning. Plan to arrive at Mount Rainier National Park before 7 a.m. or after 4 to avoid the biggest crowds, according to the Park Service. Hockey lovers, time to rejoice. The Seattle Torrent are back from a successful trip to Italy. Last week, 4 members of Seattle's professional women's hockey team took home the gold in the Olympics after defeating Team Canada. The team's first post-Olympics game is tonight against the Toronto Scepters at Climate Pledge Arena. The puck drops at 7. If you want to be there in person, you better act fast. The team expects the game to sell out. And another weekend, another traffic disruption on the east side. Beginning at 10 tonight, all lanes of State Route 522 will close at the Interstate 405 interchange. They won't reopen until early Monday morning. Crews are continuing a multi-week project to widen the freeway by removing large ramps. Transportation officials say you can expect more traffic and congestion this weekend in Bothell, Woodinville, and Kirkland. Check back for more headlines on tonight's episode of Seattle Now. It's Friday again. I hope your weekend starts soon. Phyllis Fletcher is here. She's an editor at KUOW. Phil, so glad you're in the studio.
Hey, I'm glad to be back.
Good to see you. Yeah. David Lewis is here, too. He's an author, local historian, underground tour guide, and you may have read his work at blackpast.org or in The Stranger. Perhaps you remember his story about losing horribly on Jeopardy on our Friday episode a few weeks ago. If you don't remember it, go read it or listen. It was hysterical. David, no quiz questions for you today.
That's a relief.
Yeah. All right, you two, before we dive in, we'll start with a delicate situation on Mercer Island this week, where a sewer lake line blockage impacted properties in the northern part of the island. Residents in the area received this message from the city. Please immediately stop any activities that result in wastewater discharge, including running washing machines and dishwashers and taking showers and baths. Try to minimize toilet flushing. What's your plan after a message like that in your inbox after you shut down your washing machine, Phil?
Dude, I am out of there. I'm shutting off the water main and I am bouncing. I'm getting off the island as far as I can, as quickly as I can. I want to be nowhere near it when these systems fail. Get me out.
David?
Yeah, that's the kind of day where you buy the $6 coffee just for the code on the receipt to use the bathroom. But I was checking out the map, and that area, it's like right on the coast of Mercer Island, right next to Luther Burbank Park. So if you're living there, you definitely have another house. So you just go to that one for the week.
Well, luckily, drinking water wasn't impacted, but that sounds like a potentially rough, smelly day on Mercer Island. Is that a go into the office type of day or a good day to finally go to the gym?
You know, I really did think about, okay, what would I do? This is where you do need a fancy friend that has like at least 2 houses or one house with at least 3 bathrooms. Mm-hmm. I will use the worst bathroom. I will go to work to get out of their hair. I want to be low key. I want to be able to have access to the shower and go poopies for as long as I need to until I can go back to my house.
I'm a bit of a catastrophizer, but I think it makes me a good strategizer in situations like this. All I could think about when I read this was, I cannot imagine who had stomach flus that day.
Oh.
What that situation would have been like. But honestly, you also want me in that situation because I am clutch. Like, I'm the one who is figuring it all out because I'm eye of the storm when it really hits the fan. David, who are you in this situation? Are you a panicker or a strategizer?
I am a strategizer.
Yeah.
That would definitely be the thing where I just hang out after work for like hours and then not go home until I need to sleep.
Yeah, that has been resolved on the island, by the way. So glad everybody can flush and wash. Yeah. Moving on to the big story, some drama in the state legislature where more than 100,000 people signed in con or against the Democrat proposed millionaires tax. Less than 10,000 had signed in as in favor or other. Fox 13 reports the sign-in list showed more than 130,000 people. That's a record for the number of sign-ins on a single bill. We're talking about public comment here. Advocates for the 9.9% tax allege that the number of con signees is actually overblown, including names that were submitted multiple times. Some people say their name was added to that side without their consent, like co-sponsor Representative Victoria Hunt. Again, Fox 13 reports there were comments next to the names that read, "Definitely not a bot." Washington State House Clerk Bernard Dean says the incident calls into question the legislative record and warrants our attention. These sign-ins don't count like votes or anything. These are just people making their opinions heard. What is the logic here? Is this kind of effort even effective?
I think it is until you get caught, definitely. Because first off, it looks like it's 100,000 against, 10,000 in favor. But then when you look into it and you see it's fake, that causes a scandal.
Yeah.
And you don't have to look that deep because it was like
Right.
one person voted for it 140 times. And online, the name, it was like Tracy Huffman or something. And people are like, don't dox her. And it's like, well, at least 139 of them aren't real. So it's not really
Right.
doxing. It's like doxing Sasquatch.
Don't dox them.
Yeah.
Did they all say definitely not a robot? Like, isn't that something a robot would say?
Phyllis, does it even matter?
Obviously, people shouldn't be gaming this system in the first place, but I'm not actually even sure what this system is for. I mean, it seems like a easily manipulated popularity contest. I feel like public testimony, even though it's something that's hard to have access to and do, is so much more meaningful because then you get the story of why someone is for this or against this or how they want the bill to change.
Yeah, a real way to exercise your vote of confidence or not against something. Hedge fund manager and political activist Brian Haywood said in a statement, even with their wildest claims, this is still the most unpopular bill in history. He says the claims of fraud are Democrats going on the defensive because the public disagrees with the bill. Barring a vote, is there any way to prove this is actually popular or unpopular?
Well, I actually registered for it this morning just to try the most up-to-date version to see how it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it does request an address, and you have to verify what district you're in.
Okay.
So it would seem like it'd be pretty easy to check.
Yeah.
And I found some people online, they were saying a lot of the fake votes were allegedly from families where 5 members of the same family all voted within 1 minute of each other.
Gather round, kids. It's time to vote against taxes.
My teenager would not comply with this request.
No
I
way,
can tell you
Mom.
that.
No
Yeah,
way, Mom.
That's funny. Well, so then so if it's easy to do as you, I wonder how easy it is to do as not you.
Oh, but believe me, I was considering registering as Kurt Cobain, JP Patches, Bigfoot, but I found that is somehow illegal. So I realized
you don't want to get tangled up in
you better
any of
not
that,
get tangled
David.
up.
I
but-
hear that.
Local research firm DHM surveyed 500 Washingtonians. They found 61% agreed with the idea of a 9.9% tax on incomes over $1 million. 29% of respondents were against the idea. 10% undecided. In some way, this is about winning the headline and the narrative, though, right? Because even the headline won the day about, so many thousand people voted against this or signed in against this. And it reminds me of back in the day when we used to have local live call-in shows and they would be political and either the Dems or the Republicans would try to stack the phones with callers. And
right.
it was a total thing.
Well, when there were local call-in shows, though, there were call screeners to get rid of some of the cranks.
Yep.
With this, anyone can sign up for it. Like just to try it out, I signed up for my opinion on an initiative about water quality quality in Yakima. And I just sent in the message, clean water is good, keep up the good work. And I sent that to my state senator, voting neutral, because I didn't even know what the bill was.
Well, you are on record,
But yeah,
David.
I am on record for that now, so anyone can do it. It can get even more crankish than the call-in shows used to.
Well,
That's
I love
amazing.
it. All right, moving on to our next topic. Seattle's hitting an important anniversary this weekend. Saturday marks 25 years since the magnitude 6.8 Nisqually earthquake hit the Puget Sound region. Seattle and specifically Pioneer Square were heavily impacted. Both of you are longtime Seattle residents. Do you have a where were you when story? David, let's start with you.
Well, I was at recess at the time and actually didn't really feel it that much because we were all outside.
Wow.
And I've noticed it seems like everyone here was at recess at the same time. So if you're my age, you were all outside. Unless you were doing something wrong. If you were inside during that earthquake and you're my age, I know you were in detention then.
So you don't even really, it just kind of went right by you.
Just kind of shook. But I had someone on the tour a couple days ago. They said they were at school in Vancouver and their building, it was half brick, half wood.
Oh.
And the people in the brick section, it was like the world was ending. Stuff was tumbling down. There were cracks. And the people in the wood section felt nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. So you could have that different of an experience.
Yeah.
Oh my
totally.
gosh.
I was in a brick building and I totally thought I was going to die. It's a kind of building you might be familiar with, David. It's 100-year-old brick like warehouse that was like a cold storage facility, and it had been retrofitted, thankfully, but like it had to be in order to house offices. And I was a software engineer at the time, and this was in the industrial district in Seattle, and like the shaking, I just was like, I am definitely dying today. You could start to smell masonry like crumble. I had a woman sitting across from me who had never been in anything like this before, and I was like, get under the desk. The light fixture came down, bam. And like she was like, how did you know that was going to happen? I was like, I did not, but like that's the drill we had in schools, like you get under the desk. And then we all went out to the parking lot. And I was a KUOW member already, and I had this thank you gift that KUOW gave at the time that was a teeny tiny radio with earbuds. And like, that's why I was the only person who knew what was happening, because I was listening to Steve Scher and Ken Vincent explain that we had just had this massive earthquake and where the epicenter was and all this stuff. And I was like a narrowcaster in my parking lot, like just listening to KUOW and repeating it to all my coworkers.
You were a little repeater station.
I really was.
My gosh, and this is why you support public media at the $60 level right now.
You better get you a
thank
radio.
you with a tiny radio.
That sounds like a story from World War II or something. Being out there with the radio, getting the
Well,
signals.
honestly, it was 25 years ago, and I was thinking about it. I was on like a little flip phone.
Yeah.
I was on a flip phone in Pioneer Square, you know, and it started ringing because the word started getting around that I was actually in Pioneer Square. And the first call I got in there was the CBC. And they were asking for an interview.
Damn,
live.
they were
in
on
like
it.
2 minutes. They were on it, and somebody had given them my number.
Yeah.
And I told my story about being in Pioneer Square and how dumb I was earlier this week. But around that time, a local musician sent the KUOW newsroom an audio file, and he and his band were in the studio and had recording and had evacuated during the earthquake. But the recording was still rolling.
Oh, cool.
And you could hear the snare drum.
Oh, wow.
And the audio file, like people who are audio geeks will know, when you see the wave file, you can see the entire intensity of the earthquake. It was really wild. And I remember it being like 45 seconds long.
Yeah.
Like that was a really long 45 second.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the most recent major earthquake to hit Washington State. The Pacific Northwest Seismic Network says it caused approximately $2 billion worth of damage. I remember the dome of the Capitol building was damaged.
That's right.
You crossed your fingers and said a prayer after that on the Alaskan Way Viaduct, and all the mortar and bricks that fell from buildings across Pioneer Square. Now, David, this is kind of your zone, but not for many years.
Well, actually, a lot of Pioneer Square still hasn't recovered from that earthquake. So I do the tours of the tunnels underneath Pioneer Square.
Yeah.
And some of them, like right next to the Del Mar building, they had to fill in the entire tunnel with foam.
Oh,
like all the way up.
really?
Yeah, they had to fill in the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And it's interesting because also back in 1949, there was a bad earthquake down there, and that also destroyed a lot of those tunnels. And some of those ones, they just filled in with rubble.
Oh, man.
Because at that point, Pioneer Pioneer Square was like a total slum, and they thought no one was, they were going to destroy the whole neighborhood anyway. So we have sections where you can peek through holes in the wall and just see this totally unsafe, like, disaster zone, 1940s, just fill it with debris from the destroyed buildings.
Wow.
David, do you worry about being in there?
I'd probably be dead pretty fast if there was an earthquake, so I probably wouldn't even hear it. Probably wouldn't even know it was coming.
Wow.
If it was a big one. But I mean, allegedly, like that one that we've been waiting, what is it, like 30,000 years for, whatever. Apparently that one's going to destroy the whole city anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
The city of Seattle is commemorating the anniversary Saturday by using it as an opportunity to talk about work that is still undone, to your point about Pioneer Square. The city highlighted a bill that did not pass through the legislature, which would have provided more support for retrofitting buildings. They say unreinforced masonry buildings are common in Seattle's older neighborhoods. Yes, they are, and are one of the region's most pressing safety needs. You can even log on to a website and look at your neighborhood and see how many unreinforced masonry buildings you might find out you're living in one, depending on how old your building is. Has the Nisqually earthquake impacted either of your views on emergency preparedness? Phyllis, you're so practical.
I am. I mean, I'm sure I would find huge gaps in my preparation right now. I mean, I am very heartened by the fact that I have a little emergency kit on my desk provided by KUOW. That's very, very nice. I know we have some preparedness stuff in place at home, but I mean, the thing that really stuck with me from that experience is I don't want to die here. I don't want to die doing this. Shout out to all my software peeps. Like, you are awesome. It was not the thing for me. And I couldn't believe I was going to die at 28 doing that. Like, that was a terrifying concept. And I would love to say, and then I walked right out of that job and went to public radio.
And it changed everything.
It took me a little longer than that, but I'm glad that I don't have to feel that way now.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It was heavy. Yeah.
David, you were just out on the playground.
Yeah, I also would not want to have died in third grade, so similar experience.
Yeah.
Do you live in a retrofitted or earthquake-safe building? Do you even know?
It's mostly wood.
Well, the wood, though, did better, right, than brick in some of those, like that school that you were talking about. That's good.
Wood is great for earthquakes. Yeah. Actually, one of the only reasons Pioneer Square is probably still standing is most of those buildings are propped up on giant Douglas fir beams.
Oh, wow.
So those probably are what saved it from completely falling down in the earthquake.
Wow.
We have one where the Hub building used to be. It was destroyed in the 49 earthquake, but all that's left is one red pillar on the side of the Emerald City building.
Wow.
And that's just still a vacant lot.
Yeah.
And there's still the tile work that says the Hub out on the sidewalk. They never
I've seen
replaced
that.
it.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that whole building just destroyed back then.
Oh, my gosh. All right, one last thing before we go. Sometimes it pays off to be a little bit nosy. A local Redditor was looking through city permits and discovered that fast food mega chain McDonald's may be expanding onto Capitol Hill. Turns out a permit advisory company filed an application with the city of Seattle this month to convert the former Rite Aid on Broadway into a McDonald's. Now, I don't want to start anything here because, as we learned last week, people have very strong feelings about food, but this is very close to a Dick's location. Would a McDonald's feel out of place here? Would it bring business? Are we going to do celebrity deathmatch on Capitol Hill for burgers?
Oh, as soon as I heard that news, I just got visions of being at the 8 bus stop at 2 a.m. next to some like grunge rock era burnout, going like, real Seattle people, they eat dicks, and like going on about that for like 30 minutes.
Dicks is for locals, man.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, that's going to be the next 40 years.
I mean, I can remember a time when on 45th in Wallingford, there was a McDonald's, there was an A&W, there was a Dairy Queen, and of course there's Dick's. Dick's is the last man standing on 45th.
Yeah.
On Broadway, there was once a DQ just a couple doors down from where this McDonald's is going to go in. But I think the only reason that one lasted as long as it did is because if you're going to compete with Dick's, you have to have something that other girls don't. And DQ has the Blizzard. So what's this McDonald's going to have? Is it going to have a rooftop deck? Is it going to be drive-through with the quickness? What's it going to have that Dick's doesn't have? It's got to have something.
Oh, so, and it has that really unique marquee front on it because we're talking about the Rite Aid building there.
Yeah.
Phyllis, could you see some plexiglass panels in the marquee, little kids' faces planted?
If they had the play place going through the marquee, that would be one thing. But I think you still need something else up your Golden Arches if you are going to compete with Dick's half a block away.
Well, there's only one food I love more than pizza, and it's burgers. So I definitely have opinions here. I would have to actually make a decision because I would have to decide if I want a burger or I want fries because Dick's fries are a hard no for me.
Well, so here's what you do. You go to Dick's for the burger. You go to McD's for the fries. What's the problem?
David, does that work?
Yeah, no, I was agreeing with you. They're really greasy and soggy. And I mean, honestly, being from Seattle, I don't even think Dick's is that great. I think Red Mill is a much better burger.
Burger Master, Burger Master.
I'm a Burger Master queen. I like the drive up and like the, coming to the car to take my order because I'm bougie like that. But you can totally, that could be a real win from this situation is if you can pick and choose. If you're like, I am a, Dick's cheeseburger person, but I'm a McDonald's ice cream person. But that ice cream machine better be on point. Don't tell me it's out of service or it's the last time I'm going.
If McDonald's shows up, they better be working
You
hard
better
for
come
us.
correct.
Seattle Times outlined some of the Rite Aid building's history. It was opened in 1911, actually, as the Society Theater. It spent 80 years as the Broadway Theater before Rite Aid came to town. This is also the Rite Aid where a dropped S on its movie theater style marquee resulted in the bleak message, "Come get shot here."
Don't. Oh, no, thank you. Oh, my goodness.
If the alternative is a vacant building, will the neighborhood accept such a major chain coming in?
Well, there's nothing more Seattle than a vacant building in a really expensive neighborhood.
Keep it vacant.
So as a preservationist, I would like to see it just abandoned for another 10 years to preserve our local culture.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We're going to leave it there. Phyllis Fletcher is an editor at KUOW. David Lewis is a local historian and underground tour guide. Thanks, David.
No problem.
Good to see you, Phil.
Yeah, it was fun.
Appreciate you listening to Seattle Now. Thanks to our generous donors for your support. Take a minute to rate and review the show on your favorite podcast app. Today's episode was produced by Vaughn Jones. It was edited by Andy Hurst. Our production team also includes Caroline Chamberlain Gomez, Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, and Paige Browning. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you tonight for Evening Headlines.